we have with us the Changan X7 Plus. Let's do a review. The X7 Plus is the newest model to join the local Changan lineup when the brand got a new distributor last year. This is a 7-seater mid-size crossover that competes with the likes of the Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro. The Changan X7 Plus is available in only one variant, priced at 1,399,000 Philippine pesos. With its exterior, the X7 Plus takes a more elegant approach compared to the rest of the Changan lineup, which all look aggressive. That can mainly be seen with the front grille, which gets a diamond pattern. We also get a split headlight design with the sleek LED DRLs on top and the headlights on the lower portion. Red accents are present for a sporty look, but I'd rather not have them. The side and rear sections are rather simple compared to the front. This does ride on 19-inch two-tone alloy wheels wrapped in Chaoyang tires. At the back, you'll find full-width LED combination taillights. Weirdly, the brake lights are not with LED. Opening the manual tailgate, you'll find decent amounts of cargo room even with the third row seats up. Fold them down and you get pretty much what you'd expect in the segment. And now we're inside the Changan X7 Plus, and as you can see here, we have a very sleek and premium looking interior. So materials here are very good. We have this soft touch, I don't know what we call this material here, but it does feel very nice. It's like suede, but it's like leather at the same time. Then here on top, we have lots of soft touch plastic. So that's all good over there, and the design itself is actually very nice. It looks very pleasing to see, and also you have this faux wood material over here, which does elevate the look of this even further. Then here in the door panels, the same thing. We have soft touch plastics on top, and then we have here some suede like material, which does feel very expensive as well. It feels very nice to feel over there. Then our steering wheel is also leather wrapped over here. We have some orange contrast stitching similar to this color over here. It's like brown orange. It's a mix of the two colors. Then this is only tilt telescopic, unfortunately, so we cannot adjust this for reach. But steering wheel does look very good. We have controls here in the left for our cruise control, on the right for our instrument cluster, or rather our audio controls. Then our horn is your typical Chinese car, European car like horn, so that sounds very nice. It's very loud. Then we have our 7-inch digital instrument cluster over there. It's not a fully digital one. It only takes the center portion of this display area, but you do have decent amount of information there. It's just our usual, like our fuel economy, odometer, everything is over there. Tire pressure monitoring system as well. Here in the center, I think this is a 12.3-inch screen. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'll check that as well. But it does look very nice. It's very responsive. It's very easy to use. Actually, it's very simple, so we don't have to go digging too much for things that we want to find in this car. Also, just swipe to the left over here and you will find your different driving modes for the vehicle, some settings or functions rather, just like opening the windows of the car and other stuff that you want to do with the car. So everything is here on the screen. Unfortunately, we don't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto here, only phone mirroring. Then moving down, we have our single zone automatic climate control. So they're controlled by these buttons and the two toggles on the left and right side. So very easy to use. The display is here on the screen. Unfortunately, I'd still rather have a separate display over here, but this does work, and I'd rather have these buttons and toggles with that display on the screen rather than a touch sensitive control down here. Then we also have our storage here in the bottom and two USB ports, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. Then our gear shifter here is our traditional gear shifter. It's not an electronic shifter like many other cars these days, but this one I really like. It feels very good, and of course it works really well. Put it in reverse and you will find the 360 camera here on the screen with multiple views, so you can choose different views, which is very helpful when driving this vehicle. And also here we have our engine start stop button, so it's located here in the center console. We have our electronic parking brake with auto hold and a few blank switches over there, two cup holders, and our center armrest here with a very good amount of storage underneath. Then the seats over here, they're leather wrapped with, again, that like suede like material over there, and we also have the Ocean name embroidered onto it. So that is actually the sub brand of Changan that builds the X7 in China. But here, it's only the Changan X7 Plus, not the Ocean X7. And the seats themselves are very comfortable. They're both manually adjustable. Unfortunately, the driver's seat is also manually adjustable, but again, very comfortable. It's not too hard to adjust, and it supports you very well, which I really like. Then also, you'll see behind me, we have a panoramic glass roof. You can't open it, but it is there, and it's very nice to have. It makes this cabin feel very spacious. And we're now here on the second row of the X7 Plus, and typical with these Chinese crossovers, we have a decent amount of space. Actually, it's not as much as what you'd get in other models, but it's still pretty good over here. So we still have lots of leg room. Foot room is very, very good. So I have loads of space down there under the seat to put my feet in. And also knee room, pretty good as well. Then we have the same leather materials, the seats in front, but we don't have that suede portion anymore, but that's fine. I don't really mind that. We still have the contrast stitching anyway. Then materials back here have also been a bit downgraded, so we only have hard touch plastics here on the top portion of the door panel, but it does feel very solid, just like the rest of the interior. So everything here feels very well built, which I really was surprised to find. Then we also have this leather material over here, so instead of the suede as well over there. Then here, two aircon vents in the middle. Thankfully, we have two, unlike other Changan models which only have one. Then we have again that Ocean name on top of them, a USB port down there, and some storage as well. And now we're in the third row of the X7 Plus, and as you can see, it is a bit tight for me. So I'm 5 feet and 7 inches tall, and that's just average height. And yeah, so it's pretty tight, but it does work. So I do have a little bit of foot room, so I don't have to force my legs to stay up high the whole time. So I can put my legs a bit forward, or rather my feet. So that's pretty good over there. Although my knee room is pretty tight, so that's, I guess, non-existent. But I think children will be fine over here, and smaller adults. This won't be a problem for them. And despite this being the last row, we still have storage over here and cup holders on both sides, so they're not forgotten. Although there are no more aircon vents back here, but I guess that's fine. Also, headroom is okay. So I'm not really the tallest, so you can see there, I do have about an inch of headroom left. My head is grazing the part here of the ceiling. But yeah, children will be fine back here. And now we're driving the Changan X7 Plus, but we are currently stuck in traffic. But anyway, this is actually my first time to drive this crossover. This week test drive is my first time with this, and it does feel very familiar because it actually has the same engine as the CS55 Plus. So let's talk about that first. So we have a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine that produces 188 horsepower and 300 newton meters of torque, paired to a dual clutch transmission, a wet dual clutch transmission. And thanks to that, this does actually feel pretty good to drive. It's more on the comfort side, but at the same time, it does offer a bit of fun when you want it. So it does feel very peppy. That's one thing. So put your foot down and the engine instantly responds. Thankfully, the dual clutch transmission seems to have been tuned much better in this car compared to other Changan models, and that's a very good thing about this. So it may not have the most equipment in this car. We don't have everything that we want, but it does feel pretty good to drive, and that's what's important, I think. And going back to the transmission, it's very smooth. The way it shifts, the overall feeling that this car gives is very smooth when you are driving. So it's actually very comfortable. But if you do want to have some fun, you have the different drive modes. We have Eco mode, Comfort, and Sport, but I'd rather have it on Eco mode because I think it's what provides the best balance in terms of performance, weirdly. So Sport does feel a bit too much when it comes to acceleration, and so does Comfort mode. But in Eco mode, it just feels right. Anyway, while we're stopped, one thing you will notice about this car is how good the noise insulation is. So outside noises don't really come into the cabin that much. It's very quiet in here, and that's the same thing when you are already driving. So let's just wait a few seconds for the light to turn green. And now that we're moving again, let's talk about that noise insulation. So NVH is very good in this car. So road noise is very quiet. You don't really get much tire noise in this car, even at higher speeds. Although I did drive this mostly inside the city, but still, some cars, they get loud even inside the city. But this one remains very quiet. And also, ride quality is another really good thing because it just really is smooth, just like the way this car drives. So the suspension absorbs road imperfections really well. It doesn't feel firm at all. It's soft, but it's not too bouncy. There is a hint of bounciness, which I do not like, but overall, it's just really a good ride. And that's what's important when you get a crossover like this, especially for your family. And there's really no vibrations in this car, so everything, again, just like I mentioned earlier, is very well built. So there's no issue at all with NVH in this car. As for steering feel, it's something that I'm mixed on, because it does feel really comfortable just like the rest of the car, because it's very light. So it's very easy to steer, especially when you're driving inside the city. So it's very light, and it does have decent amounts of feedback. It's not the most, but it does work, and again, it's very comfortable. So at least there is that. You do have different steering modes, although they don't really do that much. I was expecting like sport mode to give you a lot more weight, but that is not the case in this vehicle compared to other Changan mods that I've tried already. And body roll is a bit more pronounced in this vehicle when you do take a turn at a higher than normal speed, but that's expected from this vehicle. You have the soft ride again, and that's something that would be the side effect of it. Then one thing that I do find problematic with this car is visibility. So we have huge A-pillars. Rear visibility is fine, but again, the huge A-pillars do really block the view. Sometimes you don't see some motorcycles. It's big enough to cover an entire motorcycle actually. So that's one thing about visibility in this car. And like I mentioned earlier, we spent most of our time inside the city. So let's talk about fuel economy now. Because with our few days with the X7 Plus, we were able to get a decent 9 kilometers per liter inside the city. So I'm pretty sure I would get a lot more on the highway. 9 kilometers per liter is actually quite good for city driving. So hopefully next time we can try this on the highway. Also, one thing to note is that this test drive unit does not come with any advanced driver assistance tech, but the actual units being sold to customers do actually have radar cruise control, and I'll just list down everything that it comes with here. But yeah, so this unit does not come with it, but if you do buy an X7 Plus, it will come with stuff like that. So that's actually pretty good, especially for its price.
The Changan X7 Plus may not be the most feature-packed or even the most exciting model in the segment, but it offers good value for money with its 7-seat capacity, excellent build quality, and comfy yet fun driving experience.